Long before smartphones, electricity, and even Wi-Fi, humans were living the original survival edition of life. Let me introduce you to Homo sapiens, the ancestors of modern Nigerians. Hardworking, inventive, slightly hairy, and very, very hungry. Our story begins in the mists of time, where the first humans appeared. Scientists call this the origin of man, and yes, it's far more exciting than your standard history book description. The earliest humans belong to the family Hominidae, which is a fancy way of saying apish but smarter. Over millions of years, they evolved from simple creatures into beings who could stand upright, make tools, and eventually argue about politics and religion. Now, let's talk stages of human development, which is basically the human upgrade system. First, there was Australopithecus, the original bipedal wanderer, walking upright long before fashion made it trendy. They were small, lived in trees sometimes, and had brains barely bigger than a large orange. But they were clever enough to survive. Next came Homo Habilis, the handy man, who invented the first tools. Imagine trying to hunt or cut food with just your teeth. Awful, right? Homo Habilis said, "Nope," and started shaping stones to make life a little easier. Sharp stones became their Swiss Army knife. Food. Cut. Skin. Scrape. Cave wall. Decorate. Why not? Then, the superstar, Homo Erectus, the upright man. He discovered fire, the original power-up. Fire meant warmth, protection from predators, and cooking, because nobody likes raw yam every day. Fire also doubled as a social hotspot. Around fire, early humans told stories, shared food, and occasionally argued over who got the biggest roasted mammoth leg. Eventually came Homo sapiens, the thinking man, us. They had bigger brains, better language, and the uncanny ability to make mistakes at scale, which is still a family tradition. Homo sapiens began settling down, leaving the nomadic lifestyle behind. They built small settlements, which were the earliest neighborhoods. No electricity bills yet, but basic housing, probably mud huts, was a start. Now, all of these stages are part of the Stone Age, humanity's first software update. And yes, the Stone Age had upgrades. Paleolithic Age, Old Stone Age. Humans were hunters and gatherers, roaming from place to place like very desperate food critics. They made stone tools and learned to hunt animals and gather wild fruits, nuts, and roots. Cave paintings began here. These were early Instagram stories, but permanent and way less convenient. Mesolithic Age, Middle Stone Age. Humans got smarter, made microliths, tiny tools, not to be confused with mini stones you stub your toe on, and started using bows and arrows. They began domesticating animals like dogs and sheep, not because they loved pets, but because it was practical. Neolithic Age, New Stone Age. This was the real game changer. Humans learned agriculture. They planted crops, harvested food, and basically invented the concept of meal prep. Farming allowed permanent settlements, led to population growth, and gave people more time to think about life's important questions, like, can we make beer from millet? During this time, humans also developed pottery for storage, learned to weave, and started trading surplus crops. Villages became small communities, leading to the first social structures. Everyone had a role. Some hunted, some farmed, some made tools, and some, well, argued over whose turn it was to carry the water. Through all these stages, one thing remained constant: human ingenuity. Early man survived predators, harsh climates, and a world that didn't come with instruction manuals. They learned from trial and error, passed knowledge orally, because books were not a thing, and laid the foundations for everything that the world would become. So, to summarize without boring you, origin of man, hominids evolving into Homo sapiens. Stages of human development: Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens. Stone Age subdivisions: Paleolithic, hunter-gatherers, simple tools, cave art. Mesolithic, microliths, domestication, bow and arrow. Neolithic, farming, pottery, permanent settlements, weaving, trade. Key developments: tools, fire, language, settlements, agriculture, domestication of animals. And that, my friends, is how humans went from scared little primates hiding in caves to clever beings capable of telling stories about themselves, just like you are hearing now. Moral of the story: always appreciate fire, farming, and someone inventing tools. Without them, Your life would literally be raw, boring, and very inconvenient. See you next time from StoryLearn.